This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
She needs to do a podcast since she never got her due. She's a big lesbian and a loudmouth Jew. With a gasket always ready to blow, you're listening to Judy Show. Who? Judy Show. Wait a minute, who are you talking about? Oh, she's an asshole. What is wrong with you? Oh, you suck. So long. Fuck off. Hey everyone, welcome to It's Judy Show with Judy Gold. I'm your host, Judy Gold. And today we have part 2 of my interview with Jen Kober, a Southern Jew, which actually scares the living shit out of me when I hear a Southern accent and like a Jew, because it's just such an anomaly for me. I wanted to tell you, there's a lot of shit going on outside my window. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I waited to start because some kid was screaming, but it's like, the city is crazy. That's for the city and crazy. And it's really annoying. Like, it's dangerous. There's too many people here. Yeah, I've lived in New York City since 1984. And I got to tell you, it has changed so much for the better, for the worse, up and down. And it's not in a good place right now. And it's annoying. Very special person I know was in the subway going to see a show, and she was attacked by a mentally ill man. I could say unhoused. You're not supposed to say homeless anymore. You have to say unhoused. I'm so fucking sick of this shit. And she's afraid she can't take the subway. She has PTSD. It's just shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. And whatever that fucking truck is outside right now, like, I literally have enough rage where I want to fucking take a boulder and dump it on top of that truck. Anyway, let me tell you my gigs first. I want you to know I've been doing spots around the city, which has been a lot of fun. But December 24th, I'm going to be at the New York Comedy Club, Upper West Side, for a very Judy Christmas show. So get your asses there. It's a great club. It's on 78th between Broadway and Amster Schmamster. And it's I love it. It used to be the old Stand-Up New York, and now it's New York Comedy Club, and it's just fantastic. So get there, get tickets. It's in, on my Insta, in my website. So yeah, that's December 24th. And I have a bunch of other stuff coming up that I'll be talking about. But right now, It is Jen Kober, who I loved speaking with Jen. And, but I was thinking about this intro today, and, I like to talk a little bit, before I introduce my guests. And I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about. And, a lot of things came to my mind, the difference between this Trump win versus the last Trump win, and my feelings, and my feelings about the Democrats and what they did, and the disgustingness of his behavior. And yet, it's interesting because I will read something that someone said about, anti-Semitism, or the war in the Middle East, or Israel and its right to exist and defend itself, or, just educated. Some of them are educated. Some of them are not, but most of them, I try to really read all different sides of an issue. And I find myself agreeing more with people who I dislike on every other fucking thing they have to say. Their gay marriage, their gay, their everything, their stance on everything. And yet and I know that this is an issue that a lot of my listeners have told me about and that they like me talking about. And I'm going to be brutally honest. It's really difficult when, you have been on the right side of history for so many people, and issues, and marched and protested and raised money and have been active in changing people's minds and changing policy and in engaging enough to make a difference and hopefully change and make other people's lives better or more equal under the law. And yet, the people who I've done that for, and a lot of them are similar to me because, I know what it's like to be a woman. I know what it's like to be gay. I know what it's like to be a lesbo. I know what it's like to be a Jew. I know what it's like to be a female comedian. Double standards there. I know a lot because I'm 62 years old and I've lived in this world. And I've met people who are no longer here. I have a link to history. So, it's hard. That's a hard thing. And the reason I'm saying all of that is because tonight, Henry and I went out to dinner at a really great Mexican place on 106th Street. And it is right by Columbia. We sat down. There weren't a lot of people. There was a table of 2 women, and then there was a table, I think, of 4 to 6 people. I didn't really look at them, but they were very loud. I think it was 4 actually, and they were their conversation was that, and we walked in, they were already sitting, was about the crisis in the Middle East and the war in the Middle East. And, I was trying to, Henry and I were both, we were engaging with each other, but also pretty aware of how loud they were speaking. And I noticed one person, Henry noticed, and I did too, was definitely knew who I was. But this guy was he was bloviating. He was talking about this issue and his stance. And I heard him in between, conversation with Henry, talking about what Jews think and which Jews, and that there's so many. And I was like sitting there going, I want to go over there and fucking just put them in their place. But instead, I wanted to be with Henry. So I stayed with Henry, and we were both definitely aware of what was going on. And they were just so loud. I noticed that generation is very loud. And what generation? The generation of people who grew up with only cell phones. I'm telling you, they're loud. Okay. So they continue to talk and on this, and I get after a while, I get the impression they are, very involved in the, they were talking about BDS and I just want to go, you just want to go over there and say, like, who are you? Like, have you lived 1 minute as a Jew in this world? Have you lived 1 minute as a Palestinian in this world? Have you lived 1 minute as an Arab Israeli in this world? Have you lived 1 minute as a woman in this world? Have you lived, how old are you? What life experience do you have? Have you ever been to Israel? Have you been to the West Bank? Have you been to Gaza? Do you also have this passion about Assad and that no one's even calling him out for war crimes? Where have you traveled and where do you get your information from? And are you upset about what's going on in Sudan and you just want to go over there. Okay, then you're going to die. The conversation moves to comedy. So I'm wondering, why is this this is really like someone arranged this table to be really loud and talking about, I heard them mention the Comedy Cellar and comedians and what cancel culture is. And and at this point, I'm like, who are you that you're so loud and you think you know fucking everything, and you've been on this earth for a privileged 23 years, 25 years, 30 years maybe? Who the fuck do you think you are? And, it's so infuriating because of not only the willful ignorance, the fact that they're so fucking loud and ignorant. It's like vocally ignorant. Like, oh, this is true. You don't know. No, it's not true. There's nuance. And you don't know what people think. And you have only lived your life as one person in this world. So you don't know what it's like to navigate the world as someone else. So shut the fuck up and stay in your fucking lane. So I just got so annoyed. I got so annoyed when I left, and I was saying it to Henry, and he's like, yeah, I get it. But when people are, I don't want to be angry, and I don't want to go over there and go, fuck you, you fucking, and angry because, and rageful, because that's what they want. They want to say, oh, look at how out of control you are. And it is out of control because it's so frustrating, right? It's just so fucking frustrating to deal with people who are just so hell-bent on bullshit, So it's hard. And I think of Gloria Steinem, because if you watch Gloria Steinem, who's only half Jewish, so I'm going to go like that. Gloria Steinem never reacts. It's like exactly what they want. They want that from women. They want anger like that. No, I'm not going to give you that. I actually didn't make any contact at all with them. But it was, for me, such a learning experience to listen to these people act like they fucking know everything when they know nothing. It must be nice to be that entitled and privileged too. I mean, I don't care who it is, or what your job is. You have skills and knowledge that I don't. No matter what your socioeconomic background is, no matter what your ethnic or religious background or race is, you're different and you know things I don't know. Everyone knows something you don't know. So you can go through life like that, or you can go through life like I fucking know everything and get your head handed to you at some point. But it's interesting that a lot of, white males, and I'm going to say it, don't get their head ever handed to them, AKA our incoming president. So, it's been really hard, and I think it's been really hard for a lot of people who are proud Jews and believe that, Israel has a right to exist, have a definite connection to the Holocaust and World War II, and know what I guess the zeitgeist is telling us, So stay in your fucking lane, assholes. Okay, that's what I had to say. I had to get that off my chest. And so here I am. We just had dinner. I did have a margarita, so I might be a little looser than usual, but yeah, that's my intro today to Jen Kober, who is a Southern Jew and a lesbo. But I also wanted to say that since I changed the name of my podcast and rebranded it to It's Judy Show with Judy Gold, I've lost 50% of my downloads. How sucky is that? So we are posting shit on my YouTube channel. We're posting old episodes. We're doing whatever we can. So please subscribe. And leave a review, 5 stars. And sit back right now, relax, and enjoy part 2 of my conversation with the one and only Jen Kober. Okay, so after you get robbed and mugged, did you have any Girl Scout cookies in the car? I'm going to go with no.
No, I did not. I had my clothes in that car and a djembe drum that I had bought at a music festival with my last $200.
Oh.
I when I was a younger lesbian, I thought drumming was very, very important.
I get it. You got to use your hands, your fingers. I get it.
You got to use your hands. Yeah, it's a hand drum.
Good job. Good job, Jen. You go back to St. Charles or Lake Charles or wherever the fuck it is. You get a degree at Ole Miss. Is that right?
McNeese State University.
Oh, right. Oh, fuck, Judy. I'm an idiot. Okay. And then you get a degree,
Yes.
right? You graduate. And by the way, while you were in Chicago, you were studying improv, which is like the place to study improv. So you, at such a young age, have experience in, these speech contests, stand-up, improv, character work. So you're like, you have this base that's
Yes.
incredible.
Yes.
What happens after you graduate college? And I really want you to tell me about Disney's Comedy Warehouse, because I'm fascinated by that Disney had a comedy warehouse when you can't. Disney and comedy, to me, not a good combination, because what? Just tell me about it, because I'm fascinated by this.
It was, so you remember that there was a Downtown Disney in Orlando, which is like the adult. It was called Pleasure Island. It was like an adult. They had
Right.
alcohol. They had a dance club. They had a comedy club. They had the Adventurers Club, which was sort of an interactive show as well. And so I worked there. So I worked at night. We did 5 shows a night. And it was open 7 days a week, but you only worked 5 nights a week. So 5 shows a night, 5 nights a week. You get really funny really fast.
Yeah. How much time did you have to do at those shows?
It was a 30-minute show with 5 players. So we would take suggestions from the audience and make up things right there on the
Right.
spot, like whose line is it anyway kind of stuff. It was
Okay.
very musical. We would make up a lot of songs about people. We would do full musicals on stage. We played games with the audience. We played games with just among ourselves. We did talk shows. We did game shows. We did all sorts of things, and every single word was being made up in front of you. There was no script that we didn't. We rehearsed how to play the
Right.
games, but it wasn't necessarily, none of that got said again. Nothing was scripted. And so,
Yeah.
like I said, you just got funny really, really fast. And actually, Paul Vogt, one of the players who I worked with at Comedy Warehouse, is actually staying in my house right now because he's doing a show in Pasadena at the Pasadena Playhouse. He's in La Cage aux Folles. And I was like, hey, don't just stay back there. I'm doing a podcast with Judy Gold. He goes, oh, I know her. I had lunch with her once. I don't think she'll remember. I was like, all right, I'll tell her.
We had lunch. What's his name?
Paul Vogt.
VOTE?
VOGT.
I really would love to know where the hell I had lunch with Paul Vogt. But tell him I said hi.
I'm sure it was somewhere in New York. He was on Broadway for a little bit.
Oh, I love him. No. Okay. So now I feel like I have to look him up, but I'm not going to look him up. Okay. So back to can you tell me how long you did the Disney Comedy Warehouse shows, what you did afterwards, and then we're going to go into some other dish.
So I was there until 2001 or 2. I can't really remember. And then I left and just went on tour all over the place. I really committed to doing stand-up and just started living in my car and traveling all over. I think I went and did the Seattle comedy competition, actually.
That's right. You did Seattle comedy. I am not a big fan of comedy competitions. I want to know, because I feel like comedy is so subjective. I think people are hilarious. Elisa, my lover, she's like, yeah, I get it, but it's not that, and I'm like, no, it is, So that's why I hate comedy competitions. But I know that Seattle was a huge one, right? It was a huge one.
I did San Francisco and Seattle back to back. Yeah.
And how did you do? Wait, it's in my notes, but I can't open my notes.
I came in second place by 1/10 of a point. I missed winning by 1/10 of a point.
Who won?
What was his name?
See? Always.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a guy. Yeah, of course.
Of course it was. You opened your own comedy club called Big Brick House, which.
Yes.
How long did you have that?
I mean, not even a year. It was, I was so excited about what it could be, but got bogged down in the minutia of it. Like, you need to have a 3-compartment sink, and there has to be a vent 6 inches from this door. Like, It was a bunch of bullshit about like keeping a building up to code. And doing all this, jumping through all these hoops to get a liquor license, and all I wanted to do was have a place to tell fucking jokes. So I got rid of that very quickly. I didn't do that very long.
Right. It's interesting because I have noticed, first of all, there's a lot of people who own clubs who are wannabe comics, and that never really works correctly. But there are people who tried stand-up, knew it wasn't for them, and then opened comedy clubs. Those people are actually the best comedy club owners because they know what it feels like to be on stage. Like Chris Mazzilli, who owns Gotham Comedy Club in New York. He's so good to the comics because he had that horrible experience. This week's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, I am a huge advocate for therapy. I talk therapy. I like physical therapy too, but I'm talking about talk therapy. I've been in therapy since I'm 18 years old. There is nothing better. Nothing better. And it is a stressful time. We just had an election. It's the holidays, and we're going to have to spend family time or not spend family time. It's a decision you might make in therapy, because therapy is really the best way, the only way to process your feelings, anxiety, depression, everything. I've been doing it for over 40 years. I know what I'm talking about. So if you've been thinking about starting therapy, if you thought about it for years and just didn't do it, please give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It's suited to your schedule. You go to betterhelp.com/JudyGold. You fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch your therapist at any time for no additional charge. I've done that multiple times in my life, switch therapists. It works. It works. And I know a lot of people who have used BetterHelp, and they love it. So find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome. So you've done a lot of stand-up, but also been on a bunch of shows.
Yes.
You're very, I love that you on Dead to Me, you played a rabbi.
I sure did. That was a great casting notice because it was just, do you know the Mourner's Kaddish? I was like, do you have any idea how many dead Jews I know? Yes.
Yeah. That's great. I played a rabbi and did the whole mourners thing for, what the fuck was that show? Oh my God, with what's her name? This is what I can't stand. You'll see, Jen. This is going to happen to you. It was on HBO. It was what's her name from The Sopranos? She played the wife. Fuck. God damn it. And I
Edie
know
Falco?
someone's listening going, Edie Falco, she was on the show. Fuck.
Nurse Jackie?
What? Yes, Nurse Jackie. Fuck that
Nurse
shit.
Jackie.
What is wrong with me? Fucking awful. You've been doing stand up, traveling. We have some things in common I would like to discuss with you. Number one, I am addicted to cooking videos because of the sound. I can fucking I can't. And I've always been like that. As a little girl, when someone wrote on the chalkboard and I would hear that chalk hit the board, I could tell what kind of chalk they were using and how they held it and if the chalk was small or big. And I have this whole auditory fucking ADHD thing that you seem to share with me.
Yes.
When I hear a fucking knife
go across something crusty.
Oh,
so good.
Yes.
The
chopping of vegetables, and then when they speed it up, and I just, what is that?
Yeah, it's ASMR.
Are we
I don't
mentally
understand
ill?
it, but it makes me, it makes me very happy.
Yeah, so that is one thing. Plus eating all the cookies. Can we talk about your family, or is it a topic you don't like to discuss?
I mean, we can if you want to. It's it's all been resolved.
I know, but it's
so.
Yeah, it's all. Do you talk to them?
I do. I live very close to them.
Okay, so since it's all resolved, and we will not mention your mother's name, but you got a cease and desist. Is that what it is, or a gag order?
Well, I got it was a restraining order that had a gag order attached to it. Can I tell you this? Can I tell you something quickly? Another little. I was in Los Angeles, and I was supposed to be in a storytelling show that was happening in one of those theater buildings that they have out here, where there's like 3 different little theaters and stuff's going on in all of them.
Right.
And I told the person at the door, I'm on the show, and I just walked in. I didn't realize there were a bunch of different shows going on. And what I walked into was a reading of your sitcom.
Oh, that was years ago, right?
Yes. It was a long time ago. It was the girl who was in Legally Blonde was playing, I guess, the you character. But it was a reading of a sitcom you had written, right? And
right, understanding
it was so
Judaism.
Funny.
That never.
And I had never been to like a reading like that, like of something, that was clearly they were seated and whatever. Like I'd never been to anything like that, and I'd never seen it. And I missed my own show watching the reading of your sitcom.
No way.
I swear to God, I didn't show up for that show at all. My friend's calling me.
That's such a great
turned
story.
Off my ringer. But it was so good. Whatever happened?
Nothing. Guess what, Jen? I'm a lesbian, and they didn't pick it up. Oh, yeah. But I would love to resell. It's so funny. It's about, I wrote it with Ken Lippman, and it was about my kids and my life, and yeah.
It was very
great.
funny.
Thank you.
It was a really funny read.
Thank you, Jen. I'm sorry you missed your show.
I'm not. People lived.
Speaking of shows, you had a gag order.
Yes.
Again, and was it only your mom or your father too?
I couldn't talk to anyone. Yeah. Or about anyone.
You couldn't talk about anyone.
Or contact them.
And your siblings too?
I could talk to my siblings, though they pretty quickly jumped on my mother's side because, you if mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
That's so, as someone who used my mother, God rest your soul, in my act for so many years, to the point where when she died, Joy Behar said to me, "What are you going to do now? You don't have anyone writing a material for you." And I was like, "Thanks, Joy."
Joy Behar is such a bitch.
I I love her.
I do too.
She tells it like it is, but
Yeah, always
she,
has.
but it was true, because I come from a mother who, yeah, and people would say to her all the time, do you, what does your mother think? Blah, blah. And my mother fucking loved it. I would go to gigs, I'd go on the road, I'd come home, she'd be like, how did we do? You know, like
Right.
she
Yeah.
loved it. She had such a good sense of humor about herself. Plus, she was fucking hilarious. And you know, I think there's one other comedian who had the same issue, but it was with her mother-in-law, where she wanted to sue her. But so you get this gag on her. Are you like, what the fuck? Like, you know, Joy told me that, you know, when she got divorced, I guess her ex-husband wasn't happy, and she was like, too bad. You know, this is
Yeah,
what I do for a living,
that's
and
how
this
I
is part
felt.
of my job. Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't want me to talk about you, you should have been nicer.
And maybe I wouldn't be as funny as I am if you
Yeah,
were
perhaps.
nicer. But so you end up, as you say, your mother saying you can't talk about her, and so true, makes you want to do one thing more than anything, and that is talk about your mother. I did a corporate gig once at Caroline's years and years ago, and the organization or the corporation gave me a list of things I wasn't allowed to say on stage or do on stage, and I brought it up and read it and did every one of the things, and it's like a you know, a story that's in the vaults over at Caroline's, and they didn't want to pay me, but the audience loved it, and the owners of the corp hated me. But it's like, don't tell a comedian they can't do something, because they're gonna fucking, that's the first thing they're gonna do. So
Yeah.
you end up going back up, but you know, things progress, and you have to turn yourself in. Is this correct?
It is. It is correct. Yeah, it's the whole story of this part of it is in my new hour of stuff, because I can, you know, talk about it now, and it's funny, you know, later. But yeah, it was at the time. You know, I have one of those "I'll show you" kind of mamas, and she was gonna just air everybody's dirty laundry for a long and this is in a small town, so it was a lot.
Right.
It was a lot.
So during that period of time, how long did that period of time last where you were estranged from them, essentially?
We didn't speak for 8 years.
8 fucking years. How did that manifest in your work? You know what I mean? Like, how this journey of 8 years, how did it affect your stand-up and your life and Yeah,
I mean, I sort of talked about it some. I ended up talking a lot about my grandmothers instead of my mom. I ended up talking about my relationship more than, my mom. I think there was an ease to not bringing it up, because I didn't know how to talk about it without making everybody's ass clench up, because the minute you start talking about not liking your mom, and I Googled it, you know, like, can you cut your mom out of your life? And Google said yes. So I did.
Well,
you know,
Google knows everything. Yeah.
There are toxic people in your life, and I don't think anybody would tell you to keep a toxic person in your life, but what do you do when that toxic person is your mother? And so because there's just not a lot of information about that, because there's not a lot of acceptance or normalization of that, then, you know, like, every time I would bring it up, I could feel everybody's asshole clench up. I could feel everybody like, but that's your mom, you know, like and they think that because they had a mom that was very, very different. That was, you know, I always jokingly say my mother should have raised snakes and not children.
Right. Right.
I mean,
did you go through therapy?
Tons. Yes. Lots of therapy every day for at least the first 3 years. And then, a lot after that too.
Was there any pushback when you came out to your parents?
My mother told me that I murdered the child that she raised. And
Oh,
then, yeah, I mean, there was lots of pushback on that. But then she seemed to be fine with it, but she didn't want me to talk about it. Like, you can be gay, but why
God,
do you have to talk
yes.
about it all the time?
That my mother used to be like, why do you have to, yeah, what do you have to bring it up for? Yeah. And it was on
Yeah.
stage. Ellen doesn't talk
Yeah.
about, I'm like, Ma, look at Ellen. You think she like you? All right, I'm gonna put on men's clothes and dance. How's that? And
Yeah.
But that generation, your mother's young. I mean, she's not. My mother would be 102 at this point, and she accepted it. And but
She's
her
fine with it now. She's
generation,
fine with it now, and I've brought
yeah.
her on a lot of gay trips, and I think she's seen.
Oh, and they probably love her. Yeah.
Oh, they adore her. They adore her. She's everybody's mom on these trips. But I think it's that she did, the gay, she knew a lot of gay men, right? She had a hairdresser, she had a florist, but she didn't know any gay women, and she wasn't around a lot of gay people at once to get to see that it's all kinds of people. Doctors, lawyers, bankers, nurses, it's teachers, it's everybody, every kind of person that can be gay can be gay. And I think she had no reference for that. And now that she does, I think she's, much different about it.
And even though she knew gay people, it's different when it's your kid. Like, even if your brother had come out, I'm sure she would have had a fucking issue with that.
Yes.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
So you go through this entire for 8 years, you spent no holidays, you had no contact. Were you in a relationship at that time?
I was with another toxic person.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. And I know people who've had, years of being estranged from their family and then have come back. What do you think that period of time taught you or gave you, or that you learned? What did you know about yourself?
I think it taught me that I can do anything I need to do by myself. I mean, that I don't indeed need other people. I enjoy other people.
Right.
I like having family around me. I like spending time with my nieces and nephews and everybody. But I think that the thing that it just taught me self-sufficiency. Just that I can do all I need to do. I can give myself what I need to give myself.
Yeah, you're enough.
Yeah, it's not dependent on other people.
You're back together. How long have you guys been back together? The family.
I reconciled with them in the beginning of 2022.
Is your relationship different because you went through that? I mean, are there more boundaries? Is it healthier?
It is certainly healthier. There are lots more boundaries. It bounced back pretty quickly to very close to normal pretty quickly. There are things that we can't speak of. There are moments and occurrences that we just can't bring up. We just have to agree to not talk about it, and that's fine.
I get that.
It's not like I'm not at that stage in my life where I need to poke the bear.
Right.
I know what I know. I know what went down. I know how it went down. I know how I handled myself.
You know who you are.
Right.
Right. Are they proud of you?
Yes, I think they are. I think they are.
Yeah, they should
You know,
be. Yeah.
I could have, there was a choice there to be made. I could have sort of crumbled inward and, you know, never to be heard from again, or I could fight, and I fought, and I recreated everything. I rebuilt she took me down, and I came back,
Right.
and I'm better than ever. I'm doing what I want to be doing.
And you're more independent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. I love that you came out the other side.
Me too. There were some.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is become, unfortunately, a more universal story since Orange Fuckface became president.
Yeah.
And, you know, oh, who's that? Who's knocking at your door?
I'm just taking you with me to go see who's at the door. It might be my landlord.
Okay, let's see who's at the door. I can't wait. I
He
can't
likes to
wait.
see. Hold on.
Okay, this has never happened. We're going to go see who's at the door. I hope it's not that guy that stole your car.
It's my landlord, see?
Hello, where's the rent?
Hi!
Who's this?
This is Judy Gold.
Oh, hello, Judy Gold.
Hi, how are you? Did you get your rent check?
He's another Jude. You think I'm not paying him his money? Come on.
Yeah. Wait, what is that necklace? I need that We'll see what his necklace is.
Says my name, Frank, in diamonds.
You come and collect the rent like it's 1955?
No. I came over to get the key. See, I let her. I see what a great landlord I am. I let her borrow my Mercedes when she's in town.
This is true.
Wow, that's nice. Oh, Frank.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Frank. So, you have a great relationship. You have a great special out called No Flies on Me. You're in Cirque du Soleil.
Yes.
I mean, that's fucking amazing.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Cirque du
It's
Soleil.
nice to It's nice to work with an ensemble of people. You know, you do stand up by yourself. Maybe you meet an opener, maybe you meet, you know, a host, whatever, but it's just you don't work with anybody. You work alone. And so it's nice to be part of an ensemble and part of a cast, and I like that work very much.
Jen, I wish you all the best. I love that you had hair and makeup done for your mugshot, and it was Columbus Day, and you ended up not being able to go to. It's one of my favorite stories. You are a master storyteller.
Thank you.
And I know that only great things are going to happen for you. And I think that, I mean, just as my thinking I'm a fucking therapist, even though I'm with a therapist who's so annoying. But I do think this 8 years is going to, I think it's going to make you better at what your art. And I'm sure it already has. That 8-year period of, you know? So good for you.
Thank you.
Where can everyone find you? You're on the Insta. I hate social media.
I do too, but it's so necessary for what we do now. Like it's really about who has the most likes and favorites and
most followers.
You know, that's who's getting booked in clubs.
Instead of who has the best act.
But I have a website, jenkober.com, where you can find where to follow me on the Facebook and the Instagram and the TikToks and such. My special is available there on jenkober.com. They can watch it for free at the bottom of the page. It is also on YouTube. And then, a tour schedule. I am out there on the road coming to your town. Yes, even if you live in small town America, I will be there. If you want to see me somewhere, shoot me a message and let me know. I'd love to come. I'm here for the joke telling.
I love it. I hope our paths cross.
They will.
I'm sure we'll do some lesbo show. Yes.
I love that answer.
Yeah. We're going to do some Leslie show together. I know it. Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of my interview with Jen Kober. I hope you enjoyed this episode. This podcast is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling, marketed by Haley Dercher, and theme song written by the one and only Lauren Gold. Please subscribe and leave a review. Please, 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 please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Judy Gold. Follow me on not Tweetar. I have that in my fucking mouth all the time. But on Instagram, Facecock. I'm in Blue Sky now. I don't know what the fuck else. It's like a full-time fucking job with this shit. And come see me December 24th. I am going to be at New York Comedy Club on the Upper West Side of Manhattan it's a very Judy Christmas, Jewdy. Liz Glazer, Molly Kornfeld. It's going to be a great show. I'm so looking forward to it. Yeah. And God, we're getting close to the fucking end of the year and to Christmas and Hanukkah. I can't believe it. This year went really fast. But, I'm old, so things just fly by now. Anyway, so that's it. Thinking about the hostages as always. Hoping, for peace. And, wow, this world is, it's something else, isn't it? So thank you so much for listening. And as we always say, so long.